When we're liberating the mind of things we don't want to deal with, we dig up things that we don't want, that we really don't want to change. A lot of confusion about who we are. We forget about it.
Yes.
And so when you were dealing with the meditation, that's what I thought about. Tinkering with the mind, liberating the mind.
Absolutely.
To say, yeah, to say, I am the greater power. I'm always greater. Yeah, that's a challenging thing to do.
It's a challenging thing to accept because for so long we have lived thinking that there was a greater power outside of us, some
Yes.
magical greater power
Right.
that did all
Right.
things, and we cannot imagine ourselves being the greater power.
That's correct. Thank you so much, Sister Carolyn.
You're welcome.
Okay, folks, I'm Brother Malcolm. You just heard Sister Carolyn with her wonderful meditation for those of you that heard the information. But, technology is what it is, but she had some great insights. It was coming from the book Enlightenism. And I want to thank all of you for joining us today to deal with part 2, Liberating the Mind. Liberating the Mind is part 2. I dealt with yesterday with part 1. Liberating the mind of the toxicity that we have put into the mind, believing that it would help us to be better people, to be a better person. The goal in life here with Enlightenism is to accept that the greater power is within you. People call the power God. God is consciousness. It is the power that is with you on this journey. Actually, it's on the journey using our bodies. But that's who's on the journey. Well, we are here to live. And part of living is to clear up the mind, so that we get a better understanding about who we are and our greatness and the great power that we possess to change how we think and live. We have this power. All of the people you see and hear about that you think are struggling, suffering, and all the things that people want to describe people as doing and feeling, they have the power within them to change. They do. They have the power that I am talking about within themselves. And when you address that power, when you speak to that power from your own power, it must hear itself. And then an awakening must happen. Wherever the people are, whatever the conditions in the world that they are feeling and believing today, whether you believe you're powerless, you're a victim, you're suffering, you're struggling, it's all coming from what you think about yourself and the beliefs that you have used to define your awareness of being the person that you are today. But you're greater. This power is in everyone. Make no mistake about it. There is a reality that occurs in anyone, whether we can see the reality or not. Whether you're in a catatonic state of consciousness, where the reality seems alien to what we, the observers, are looking at. There is a reality in insanity. There is a reality that that person is dealing with. There is a reality that we are experiencing in the illusions. And when you get out of the illusion by unlearning it and liberating the mind, then you can see the behavior being similar to what you see in an institution. The way people are acting. If you're no longer participating in the behavior, you're no longer a part of a reality that's occurring in individuals in a so-called mental institution, then it seems bizarre what they're doing, what they're thinking. And that's what happens when you get a clear your mind and liberate your mind from the institution of powerlessness and victimization that you have depended on. And you're searching out here for something to fall out of the sky or to come somewhere that's going to liberate you. There are all types of click and bait things that happens on the internet to get you to read something. Then you read it, it's not what you thought it was. So people have become very proficient at click and bait. This is not a click and bait program. This is real. We're talking about enlightenism, liberating the mind of toxicity. Plain and simple. Our message and our philosophy is very clear. The greater power of God exists in you and me as consciousness, not in the sky, separated from us. We can have the peace, serenity, and happiness in this world, in this body, at this time, if we are willing to change how we think and live. If we're willing to let go of our dependency on others. It's frightening for many to even think about tinkering with your mind, getting into the mind. Because now you're going to bring up all of the invisible sorrow and pain that you have been hiding from yourself and the world. Your little secrets. That's what I call it. The secrets that bring you the sorrow, the pain, the confusion about life itself, where you believe life and peace exists after the form no longer functions. And that's the confusion that comes from imprisoning our mind in someone else's illusion. You know? You think you're going to be, people are always talking about rest. Rest in peace. Think about it. Just think about the confusion here. Just think about it. If you really believe that when the form leaves, the consciousness continues to live. The spirit continues to live. Then life is no longer in the form. Life is in the consciousness, the spirit. And it's not suffering. It never did suffer. The only thing suffering is the minds of those who believe in other people's beliefs and values and believe in the illusion. This is not about resting. It's not about resting. It's about work. Work in the sense of clearing the mind of everything that other people have told you about yourself. The culture that you're born into, the information, and all of the information that you receive about other people, which I talked about yesterday. Then we embody this information, and then we include ourselves in the past. We connect to the past because we live in a society where people, in a world basically where people want us to depend on other people's actions to live, to think and live. In other words, we want to follow what someone else did thousands of years ago without coming up with anything new on our own. Can you come up with a different approach than the Eightfold Path, using that for example? Or something in another religion or spiritual beliefs about being born again. So that you get beyond the rituals of being born again. The verbal affirmations of saying, I am born again. But into really creating a new interpretation. A new awareness of being born again is to create a new awareness of being. Plain and simple. And not use the guidelines from the past to do it. Oh, why are we here? Are we helpless here? That we have to be like animals and depend upon what somebody else did in the past in order to get food? Do we have to kill animals to eat? No, we don't. It's a choice that someone created in order for people to eat. Because We became too lazy or too busy doing other things, so we hired some other people to kill things for us to eat. But that's a choice. And it's not the only choice available to us. There are other ways to take care of yourself. When you discover for yourself that your body is all that you have on the journey. And how well you take care of your body depends on the work you're going to do, the effectiveness of the work you're going to do. Because if you didn't take care of your body or don't take care of your body, then you're not going to be able to work effectively. Because you're going to be too busy dealing with a crippled body, which is also crippled by the mind. The mind's beliefs sending signals to the body. Hey, you're in terrible shape, and those are the beliefs telling you about yourself. And then you begin to act it and expect certain things about yourself. I remember reading a story, and probably many of you that are sports fans have probably heard of John Madden. He was a great, renowned football coach, particularly for the Oakland Raiders. So everybody in the Bay Area knows who John Madden is of a certain age. You know, you've heard about John Madden. And then he had programs on television. And someone was talking to him about psychology, understanding and getting to know the players, tinkering with the mind, to help them be better players. Because some of them had a lot of problems. They had alcohol problems, they had anger issues. They were getting in a lot of trouble, which impacted their performance on the football field. And so they were offering him suggestions about how to address those issues. And he came up with a very simplistic answer, which has been embedded in my thinking about change since the time I heard it. He said, he didn't want to tinker with the players and their minds because he will get something other than what he wanted. He had the players playing at the level that he wanted them to play. And if they changed who they thought they were aware of being, then they may not be good players. They may not be great. He believed that their greatness came from their behavior that they had developed over a period of time. So you want to tinker with it. There are many people that believe today you don't want to tinker with your mind because you're going to create something else. You're going to open up a lot of things in your life. And I can stand here and attest today, that's really what's going to happen. Believe me. And I only say believe me because I am sharing with you that when I began to tinker with my mind and my consciousness, it led me to Enlightenism, and I am talking about the greater power of God existed within his consciousness. Well, I didn't think this way when I began my journey. I was dealing with empowerment. And the empowerment of African Americans specifically. I was dealing with the personal challenges in my own life and in the society where I'm living. And I wanted to do something about my life and not follow all of the patterns of other people. What could I do on my own? What could I know about myself that I haven't read about from someone else? And then over time, I began to develop myself. And like John Madden said, when you tinker with the mind, you go within the mind, then you are going to change your awareness of being. And the people that know you will say to you, you're not the same person. Some of the people, lots of people in fact, the more I have moved into this philosophy of Enlightenism, the more people have begun to move away because I am not dealing with the pain and suffering as I dealt with before. I'm not talking about the pity part party of victimization. I'm talking about freedom and liberation. I'm talking about clarity and the power to think and live differently than the way other people have taught you to think and live. That means you're getting out of the institution of victimization and powerlessness. You're freeing yourself out of the mental prison that you have created for yourself to live in, and where you believe the behavior that you see exhibited today in people that you may think are really, outlandish things and crazy. But we're participating in it. We're a part of the click and bait. Call us the click and bait crowd. We're in search of something, anything that's outside, anyone. And the search, folks, is within. The greater power of God is within you. It's consciousness. That's where the search is. That's where it begins, and that's where it will end. I'm Brother Malcolm. Thank you for stopping by. Check back with me later. Have a great day. And Enlightenism is liberation of the mind.